I wasn't all that upset because Caleb's played so much better the last couple of weeks. I believe there's something here with Caleb Williams. There's something here. There's something there. I think he can be it. I do.
You're
think
a believer.
He can be it.
You're a believer.
I think so. But we've been wrong before. We've overreacted on young players before. I might be guilty of overreacting on Bryce Young because he's played a whole heck of a lot better the last couple of weeks for whatever reason. I don't know if that's Dave Canales, if he just got the kick in the ass he needed when he got benched. I don't know. But all of a sudden, I didn't think Bryce Young could play a lick. And it looks a lot better. C.J. Stroud has really struggled. Now, his offensive line is probably worse than the Bears, if you can believe it. And that doesn't help. But he's throwing the ball to the other team. It doesn't look good right now with C.J. Stroud. And even having Nico back, you thought it would solve everything, and he's so good. But it hasn't. Like, that's a terrible loss for them yesterday. Terrible. And he did not look good.
There's something to be said about building momentum. When you get momentum, when you get that feeling, you get that groove going on, and then positive vibes, and you continue with those positive vibes as you move on.
Yeah.
That's a good thing for a quarterback. And then when you face some setbacks and you lose some players, then you have a tendency to fall into some bad habits. You become dependent upon certain individuals, then they come back, and then you got to work your way out of that funk.
Yeah.
You got to get out of the funk that you just created for yourself because of things that have happened around you in your circumstances.
He's struggling with it more than we thought he would, that's for sure. So I know that we should always pump the brakes on young guys that have played, less than 20 games, 25 games. Like, let's see a little bit of a body of work. Where are you on Caleb? Like, do you look at the way he's playing, Jurk, and say, yeah, that is a franchise quarterback. Still struggles sometimes. Still going to be a rookie sometimes. Still might struggle sometimes next year. Might take a bad sack like he did in overtime. But do you look at him through 11 games and you go, that's a franchise quarterback if they don't screw it up? Do you see that?
I see a quarterback that looks good at times when you're not asking him to do a lot. You ask him to drop back and fire the ball. So I think he's got the requisite arm strength.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I think he's got the chops for it.
Yeah.
But then that reverts back to his just dancing with nobody else.
Go forward.
When he gets too much time, he's got to go.
Go forward.
Now
right?
just get out.
Go forward.
Right. Well, forward or out. Either way, it doesn't make a difference.
But don't.
At that point, he didn't have to go anywhere because nobody was around him. So at some point, you need to have poise in the pocket. Yeah. It's okay. You can sit there, tap the ball a little bit.
Right.
But don't do it. All of a sudden, he starts like the world's going to crash upon him, and he just wants to know where it's going to be crashed upon him from. 3-man rush, you could sit there all day and pat the ball and let your guys go. Point to him. Hey, go this way.
Yeah.
Go that way. Like other quarterbacks do.
Like Joe Burrow.
But when he gets time in there, he's got the own clock in his head where he thinks the world's going to collapse on him. And he's got to find a way to make the throw on the run to DeAndre Swift wasn't the best thrown football in the world. It was completed. That's all that matters. That thing had the wobble and a half on it. Nobody cares what it looks like as long as it gets there. And it was getting there. The 2 missed throws to Adunze in the end zone.
Yep.
On the right sideline.
Still kind of a tough throw for him. I don't know why.
Over and over and over and over and over again.
I don't know why that's such a tough throw for him.
It was like 3-4. That throw is a little bit of a bugaboo for him.
Yeah. That's a problem area they got to fix if they can.
Yep.
Those throws have to be complete.
Them are the ones that you want.
And you're talking about the ones late in the fourth quarter.
Yes.
Yeah. That's got to be complete.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, fortunately for me, I grew up in a time where there was patience for quarterbacks, and I still think there needs to be patience for quarterbacks when you invest a first pick in the first round on them. So I'm not worried about Caleb Williams. He's not my worry. I think he's going to get it. I think he's going to make it. I think he's going to get more confidence. This offseason is going to be great for him. He's going to be working with his guys. I already know who I want gone. Did you see that Tevin Jenkins playing with a little bit of anger this week?
I don't know. I thought he played better this week.
Say what you want about Tevin Jenkins. Tevin Jenkins played like he had a burr in his saddle.
Well, that's a good Tevin
Like
Jenkins.
somebody ticked him off. And he had the ability and the want not to just sit there with a hand out, guiding, blocking nobody. He took his fair shots at individuals and really planted some guys into the ground. And how do you stop guys to come with full effort? You get them to quit sometimes. And how do you get them to quit? You keep beating on them and beating on them. So whatever anybody wants to say about Jenkins being available, being this or being that, go watch that game on the All-22.
But
I'm listening. You just butted me in the middle of my role, but go ahead.
how do you get him to do that all the time?
The right coach, offensive line coach, and yeah, it's a mindset. You're either doing it, you don't do it. Kevin Gogan wasn't a jerk some of the time. He was a jerk all the time. Incognito wasn't a jerk some of the time. Incognito was a jerk all the time. So be who you are. I hated that little rat, that Polish punk, Mark Stepnoski. I hated him. And what was he? He was a jerk. He wasn't a jerk some of the time. He's a pot-smoking jerk. That's what he was. And so either you are or you are not. How do you get him to quit yelling at him and let him do your thing? Go out there and do your thing. That's how you get it. You're going to watch the All-22. I want you to take a look.
It's going to remind me of the New Orleans game last year.
When they get planted flat on their ass and you pounded them there. That's when that's when you hear the whimper. When you hear the whimper, you know that they're looking for a reason to not win.
His magnum opus to me was the New Orleans game last year. He was.
I need nasty guys on my offensive line.
And I think that's what it sounds like you're saying. Like when we watch the All-22 tonight, it's going to look like the New Orleans game last year.
I prefer to have skilled players on my offensive line, but if they lack a little bit of skill, I want some nasty bastards on my team.
Do you know who had the best PFF pass blocking grade yesterday?
Yesterday's best PFF pass blocking.
On the Bears.
Darnell Wright.
No.
Easily, Darnell Wright.
Darnell Wright was actually third amongst the linemen. Tevin Jenkins. Which, the way you're talking right now, I don't think you're shocked by that.
No.
Tevin Jenkins had the best grade of the week on the Bears. It was it was almost an 87, which is very, very good. Braxton Jones was second, and then amongst the linemen, Cole Kmet actually had a very good one, and then Darnell Wright.
Now, like I've said about others, you can't make him a millionaire. You know what I'm saying? Or a gazillionaire. You identify what you can pay. You're not giving him 18, 19 million a year. I'm sorry. You can't do that. You've got to be smart. You got to say, Tevin, we like you. We want you to stay in Chicago. Don't put a stick in your yard. We don't want to lose you. But this is what we could pay you.
I just wish they could. I'd feel so much better if we knew he could deliver that kind of performance every week.
Watch the All-22 and then report back to me tomorrow.
I'm sure it's going to be impressive.
Just check it out and tell me what you see.
It's going to look like the New Orleans game. I can already tell.
I like nastiness is what I like. I mean, they didn't run the ball great yesterday.
No, they did not. It's a good run defense in Minnesota. Very good.
You know who's got a good run defense? Tennessee. Who'd Tennessee play yesterday?
They played, we just talked about CJ struggling. They played the Texans. They won.
Yeah.
They beat the Texans.
Joe Mixon couldn't get anything done.
Yeah.
Nothing done. That Titans crew is a tough crew.
That's still a tough loss for Texans at home, but I see what you're saying. All right, so I'm glad that you thought Jenkins stood out, and I just wish it was like they could repeat it. It's got to be repeatable, especially if you're going to pay him.
Do you see what happened to Mulatala?
Mailata by the Jared Verse rush?
Did you see
Unbelievable.
that?
Unbelievable. I've been saying it for weeks. Jared Verse is a problem. I mean, like, he is.
Sometimes you get a plus, sometimes you get a minus, sometimes you get no grade. That would be a plus for Verse and a minus. And you know what? They're going to replay that one over in Philadelphia. They will.
And he's really good. Like, Jordan Mailata is really good.
And he's exceptional. But every once in a while, every dog has his day.
Yeah, I know exactly the player you're talking about.
Every once in a while, you're going to get your ass handed to you. Why? Because you're playing in the NFL.
Yeah,
and you're going against the best of the best.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you're the hammer and sometimes you're the nail.
He was the nail.
That time he was the nail.
Yeah.
But it happens in the NFL. Now, he'll remember that play and he'll use that as a motivating factor the rest of his days. Right? But it happens in the NFL. You get your ass kicked sometimes. But the measure of the man is how he responds to that.
Yeah, and he's a great player.
And he came back after that. And he still played his butt off.
I've been saying for a little while, man. I'm telling you, Jared Verse is going to be a major headache for offenses for a long time. I mean, he is really, really good. Fisk has played well next to him. They got two rookies that have been...
Is that the big kid, 55?
Yes. Yeah. They've been really good, but Verse is exceptional.
He had a couple of Jurko pass rushes, too, yesterday. You know what the Jurko pass rush?
The Jurko pass.
Stuck at the line of scrimmage. Yeah, see, sometimes that happens. SOLS.
That's funny.
Stuck on line of scrimmage.
Can I play this prayer stuff for you guys when we come back? I want to play...
Sure. What kind of prayer? Prayer to St. Francis?
Pereira.
Oh, Mike
Not the
Pereira.
Prayer, the Mike Pereira.
Yeah.
I want to play it. I'm still confused. I don't. Why did they challenge? Did they get the view that they were saying that the refs couldn't use? But if they had that view, why would they challenge it? Did they not think the refs would be able to use that view? And did they get the? I don't get any of it. I don't think any of it's been answered either. About like this boundary cam that not, and how does every NFL stadium not have a boundary cam?
That's
like,
what I'm asking.
I have an answer for that for you, too.
You do?
Can't wait for that.
I
That's
want to
coming
play
up.
it, and then we'll talk about that coming up because I'm still confused by the whole thing. We'll be right back.